Welcome back to Jason's Pen Journey. This is going to be a video about the last pen purchase that I made in 2025. And as a result, it's the first pen I received in 2026. So let me tell you about Atelier Lusso. Atelier Lusso is a pen maker well, it's a pen company out of Gig Harbor, Washington. The pen maker is Eric Sands. I first met Eric and found out about Atelier Lusso at the San Francisco Pen Show back in August. Um, I was actually trying to get over to the table for the Carolina Pen Company, Jonathan Brooks, who had a big crowd of people in front of his table. And while I was waiting to actually get over to the Carolina Pen Company table, I found myself standing in front of Eric's table and took a look at his pens. And he had a really much smaller collection of pens that he brought with him to the show than, say, Jonathan. And the reason for that is Eric's pens are a little more higher end and a little more luxurious. So obviously, the number of pens is going to be smaller because they're. I don't want to say that the Carolina Pen Company is mass produced. It's obviously not, but the materials that are used in the Atelier Lusso pens are higher end materials. So let me dive into Atelier Lusso a bit more. So the name of the company comes from blending French and Italian. Atelier is a French word that means home studio, and so Eric talks about in his website. He talks about how his shop is attached to his home. And Lusso is an Italian word for luxury, and um, when you actually see these pens, luxury is absolutely the right word for them. These are not cheap pens, um, and they're not for the faint of heart. As a result, so I bought at this point. I bought three of them from Eric. The first one I bought at the San Francisco Pen Show, and I'll show you that in a moment. But because I was at his table for a while waiting, I kind of my eye caught one, or one caught my eye, and I said to myself, "It's a little out of the price range that I was thinking about, but if it's still there later, um, when I swing by again, maybe it's meant to be." And I wandered off for a while, and when I came back, his supply had diminished, but the one that I had my eye on was still there. So I made the plunge and bought my first Atelier Lusso pen. Since then, I actually purchased a second one through Eric on his website after seeing it available on Instagram. And then most recently, at his most recent drop just before the new year, there was one that I was eyeing, and I said to myself, I shouldn't, I shouldn't, I shouldn't. And I didn't, and I actually held off and let that one go, and I was very proud of myself for letting that one go. And then after about 24 hours, it had been snatched up, and it was this kind of pale blue one that I said that's really nice, but it's not quite right. And then there was another one that showed up, and it was this green pen, and I snatched it up, and I couldn't wait. What I'll do is I'm gonna switch over my other camera and show you the first two pens that I got from Atelier Lusso, and then we'll unbox the newest one and ink it up and give it a try. Okay, so the first two pens that we're going to take a look at are the first two that I purchased. These are from Eric's Carina Ragazzoni Il Re collection, and Eric refers to these as the big boys. These pens are large, they're heavy, um, they're made out of abalone, an abalone material blended with a resin, and as a result of the way that Eric, because the abalone shell is a little more brittle, he mixes in a lot of metal lining inside the pens to give it more structure and keep it safe. So that's kind of adds some extra weight to these pens. And then he says, let's put in some bronze, and bronze is also got add some weight in. But when you actually um, So when you kind of lift it up, it's a heavy pen, but the grip section is more slender. So you actually wind up with a pretty comfortable writing experience in spite of the weight. And a lot of the weight is coming in through the cap. The other thing that Eric refers to as that Il-Ray part of the name. That's his designation for the Mokume Gane clip and center band. So that's another kind of different material. So you'll see that in both of these two, the bands, or sorry, the clips, and this one, the band. Um, so this one, the one in root beer and copper striped abalone with desert bloom resin. This is the one that I got at the San Francisco Pen Show. It caught my eye. I loved the way that this the vertical stripes intermixed with the abalone just caught my eye, and it spoke to me. And it's a lovely, lovely pen. The second one that I bought was this one here, and this is called Rose Marina Abalone with maroon lipstick resin. So you get that kind of lipstick um, in here in the end, as well as around the band and then the finial. So we're not gonna spend a lot of time on these two. These were ones that I already have in my collection. And so we'll move our crabs out of the way, and I'll bring in our trusty little dog friend. So when we take a look at this new pen, this is a slightly different body style. So this is a new one for me. Let's first bring in the box. Really nice white box. You can see that kind of the gold inlay there with the Atelier Lusso logo, this dragon on it as well. Put that aside for a moment, just to show you what else came with the package. So a little bit of wax envelope here. Apologize for the crinkling. I'll get that out of the way as quickly as possible. And so first, you got a really nice card from Eric saying, "Jason, thank you, Happy New Year," from Eric Sands. Pretty nice there. And then we've got a couple stickers and information card with Eric's information on it, established 2016, and then the specific model number. So this is going to be the Carina Hapalua 15 in deep green abalone with midnight green resin with a bronze trim and a hammered bronze clip. Eric's pens come built and machined for standard Yovo number 6 nib sizes, and he includes standard steel nibs with them. He also, inside the box, will include a rickshaw pen sleeve. And then here's the pen itself. So again, this is the, it's called the Carina Hapalua 15 millimeters is the size of the cap. I'm sorry, the size of the threads. Deep green abalone with midnight green resin. So this one's a little different in the style than the other two. The other two were the Carina Ragazzoni. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the difference in size. Let me see if I can line them up. So you may be able to see that the Hapalua is a little shorter than the other two. And even the other two are not quite the same size either, which is I'm a little surprised by. But the Hapalua is also a little lighter. So when I hold these up, I wish I had a scale handy. There's definitely a difference in weight. The one with all the heavy brass is heavier, considerably heavier than the Hapalua. So it's gonna be a slightly different writing experience, but it's still a pretty formidable pen. This is not, again, nothing to sneeze at, and not for the faint of heart. The steel nibs that Eric includes, he'll give you your choice in size, your usual extra fine, fine, medium, broad, double broad. He goes up to a 1.1 italic stub, and as well as a 1.5 italic stub. They'll come in either the gold-plated or polished steel nibs. I went for the gold gold plated. This is not a gold nib. It's a steel nib, but it's gold plated. And we'll get that up close so you can see the Atelier Lusso dragon logo in the camera. So you can see the abalone mixed with the resin in there, really nice. Again, this one, the green is it's almost a little more understated. Not that this is not a flashy pen by itself, but a little more understated than the other two that I was showing before. The hammered bronze clip. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Compared to the Makugami clip. So a little more understated, a little more simple, but it's not simple. This is still, absolutely a luxury pen here. So sometimes Eric does sell the pens on his website with a more vintage nib or something that's a little more specialized, such as this one that I'll show up on the feed here, that he sold with a vintage nib, Gold Waterman Ideal number 7, a semi-flexible fine. This one is out of my price range and not something that was ever really going to be one that was going to add to my collection, but the pen itself was gorgeous. The other thing to note is because all the pens are done with a standard UFO number 6, they can be swapped out for different nibs. So someday I expect I will swap the standard nibs on these 3 Atelier Lussos with something a little more high end of a nib. But that day is not today, so one of these days I will get around to doing that when I acquire some spare gold nibs. Not like those are cheap or anything like that. So in terms of what I'm going to ink it with, there were a couple of options that I was thinking about: Birmingham Pen Company Boiler Steam or Birmingham Pen Company Hydrothermal Spring, and neither is exactly the match that I would look for there. So we're going to go with the hydrothermal spring. So Birmingham Pen Company hydrothermal spring. Let's get out our inking towel, which you'll notice from whatever my last video was, has been washed. It is cleaner, at least less obviously stained, I should say. A lot of the ink came off. And these do come with a standard cartridge converter. Okay, so you can see we got some ink in there now. Some ink. Let's get a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Let's get some paper out here. And we'll do a quick writing sample. One of the problems with these Atelier Lusso pens is there's no way I can remember these names. They're very fancy names, but hard to remember. So this is going to be there we go. Atelier Lusso Carina Hapalua 15. In deep green Abalone with a midnight green resin. And this is a fine nib. And the ink is Birmingham Pen Company Hydrothermal Spring. After a slight camera glitch, so finish the word ink. But perfectly tuned nib here. Doesn't need any work. It's not going to give any flex. That's a really nice ink too. I always forget how lovely these Birmingham Pen Company inks are. And then just finish the writing sample. The pen does not post, so that's fine. You wouldn't want all that extra weight on the back anyway. Yeah, good look at the finial while I'm thinking about it. There's that. Atelier Lusso Dragon. Bronze. Bronze around the band. Bronze trim. So yeah, that's the Atelier Lusso Carina Hapalua in deep green abalone with midnight green resin. Awesome, awesome, awesome luxury pen. I'm really excited about this one. I'm really excited about all my pens. I mean, let's face it, I'm not a too much of a snob when it comes to how excited I get about all my pens. But as you can tell by the fact that it's the third one that I bought from Eric, Atelier Lussos are absolutely a centerpiece of my collection. So there you have it. That's the Atelier Lusso. The latest one that I've acquired, the Carina Hapalua 15. Tell me what you think about the Atelier Lussos. If you've had a chance to try one out, if you've used one, if you've been staring at one and trying to decide if it's worth the price to you. Um, Let me know in the comments. One thing I will say, I meant to mention this a little earlier in the video, but people a lot of times will ask, is it worth it for some of these higher end pens and the luxury brands? And I think value and worth are really hard to judge from person to person. Um, what I find valuable and what I find worthwhile is not necessarily the same as for you. It's not necessarily strictly a dollars figure. Something that you find valuable, something that I might find valuable, aren't necessarily the same things. So, what's worth it to you, what's worth it to me, are not going to be the same. So, I don't want to ever talk about is something worth it. Um, it's worth it to me. It's something that I wanted. It's something that I can afford to purchase. It's something that will bring me joy. It's something that will give me a sense of fulfillment. It's something that I will cherish. So that to me, that's worth it. That's valuable. To you, you may say that's not worth it. It's not worth the price you paid for it. You can get cheaper pens that are just as good. Well, go for it. That's your money. You go do what you want to do with your money. What I do with my money is my business. Um, and for me, the value is worth it for these Atelier Lusso pens. Let me know what you think about these pens. Let me know what you think about Atelier Lusso. Let me know what you think about the Birmingham Pen Company, Hydrothermal Spring ink. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe. And until the next time I see you, keep on writing.